Okay, hello, Joss here. So this is episode 3, I think, of my virtual to reality series, and so I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. I'm messing about with timelines here. So I'm recording this kind of quite close to the present day, and the footage that you're going to see for the rest of the episode was filmed back last year sometime, so I'm messing with timelines and I shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, I did say in the end of my last video that I was going to tell you a little bit about where I work and what I do, and so this is just going to be a little introduction to what I do for a living. So I work here at Highland Aviation, which is the flying school based at Inverness Airport. I say flying school, we're not just a flying school, so we do flight training. We do training for the light aircraft pilot's license, the private pilot's license. We also do restricted IR training, so instrument rating restricted training. We also do the night rating for PPL pilots, and we also do a few extra bits for current license holders. So we do a mountain flying course, we do beach landing courses, soft field, short field landings, and things like that. So we do a lot of elementary flight training for people sort of in the Highlands of Scotland, and also anyone who's visiting the Highlands, any PPL holders from anywhere in the world really who want to come and do a little bit of flying in the Scottish Highlands. We also can kind of take them. We can get them flying with our instructors who can basically show them around and show them the Highlands basically. So that's one part of what we do. Another part of what we do is we are a CAA Part M maintenance organisation, so we can do maintenance work on light aircraft up to a certain extent, and we haven't got the certification yet, but we've passed all of the things for what's called a Part F, which is a sub part of the Part M maintenance certification. So once we get the certification for that, we've got the initial approval for it, so it's in the bag, but it's just not official yet. Hopefully by the time this video goes online, it will be official. So we've got that as well, so we can do maintenance work on light aircraft, which is fantastic. And one of the other things that we do is we do handling for light aircraft. So we basically do a lot of the admin work for any light aircraft that are coming into Inverness, and we also can refuel them and basically just look after the aircrafts as they arrive in Inverness. So I'll show you around a little bit just now. I'm off the clock, so I'm not getting paid to do this video. I'm off the clock. So this is our little corner of the North Apron here at Inverness. So you can see all of these aircraft we're currently looking after or handling. We've also got the fuel baza here, so we can refuel with Avgas 100LL. And then as we have a look down the rest of the North Apron there, so we don't do any business jets. Those belong to Signature Flight Support and the Highland Jet Centre, who are the other two buildings based sort of a bit further along there. And down there where the EasyJet is, that's the South Apron, and the main terminal of Inverness is down there. So this is our little home, this is our little corner of the North Apron, and this is what we do. So what I do here, come on, let me in. This thing is a nightmare sometimes. There we go. So what we do here at Highland Aviation is, or what I do specifically here is I work in operations, which basically ties all elements of the business together. So essentially I'm doing a lot of what I guess you would consider receptionist work, like answering the phones, welcoming customers onto the premises, and sort of just answering general questions that customers may have. But I'm also doing things like scheduling aircraft for flights, scheduling them for maintenance, and we're just doing a lot of operations stuff, which basically helps the business run smoothly on a day-to-day basis. So we're doing things like cleaning and tidying as well, and making cups of tea and coffee for customers. So it's a little bit of everything that we do on operations, and we're a team of 3 people doing operations here at Highland Aviation, me being the most experienced of the group now, and it's a really good job. I really like how varied it is, because it kind of keeps you on your toes. And we're also, any aircraft that come in, we welcome them as well. We do the handling, so we're chalking the aircraft, we're out there refueling them as well, we're helping customers with baggage and stuff. So it's a little bit of everything. It's really exciting, and I love working here. So if anyone wants to come along and get a view of the Highlands, definitely come along to Highland Aviation, and we'll show you everything that the Scottish Highlands has to offer. Anyway, enough of the introduction. That's me. I said I was going to tell you what I do here, so I have. So enough of an introduction, mainly because my battery's about to run out on the GoPro here. But I'm going to fade out here, and I'm going to show you the rest of the episode. Okay, so here I am at Highland Aviation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to surprise my colleagues, because for my GoPro I've got this little headband type thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to surprise them by putting this on, walking in, and see what their reaction is. I reckon it's going to be pretty funny. Let's see, let's find out.
Aye.
Surprise.
Oh, suits you, sir.
It does, doesn't it? Surprise.
Good lord, man.
I was going to make What was that?
Have you been in the coal mines?
Yeah, I've been looking for YouTube videos. So this is going to be it.
Cut this bit out, please.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Alright, hello again. So I haven't done much recording today. It's I record what you saw just now in the video was at 11 AM, and I've been really busy. Well, not really busy today, but I've been studying today already, and it is now gone 5 PM. So a lot of the day has passed already, and I haven't really recorded anything. So what I thought I would do is I would show you some of the equipment and kit that I have just now, and show you guys kind of what I've got to kind of get started with. Now, I have an unfair advantage because I work here at the flying school, so I can kind of nick some of the theory books, and I can I can like take a theory book home at night, study at night, and then bring it back in the morning, so no one's really losing out here or not getting access to books and stuff. Because all of the instructors have a copy of the books, so I just steal one of the instructor copies, take that home at night, use it to study, and then bring it back first thing in the morning. Also, I've got a couple of items which are all sort of hand-me-downs from previous students who have passed through already. So what I thought I would do is I'll just show you some of the items that I have, and and hopefully this can inspire you if you're going through your flight training or thinking about it as well. So spin it around here so I can show you what I've got. Most importantly, first of all, I've got a sandwich and some water. It needs to stay refreshed and hydrated. But basically, I've got an aeronautical chart. This one is well out of date. This is 2016 there. But the reason I got that, or the reason I kind of nicked that, I got my hands on it, is because it's just something, because I will need to start learning how to read charts eventually, and I thought that getting an old out of date one, I can start looking at some of the symbology, some of the just start kind of understanding what a chart tells you, and start understanding kind of what information is there on a chart. So that's why I've got that. It's not an important thing at the start of your PPL study, but it will become more relevant as the study goes on. Here I've got a knee board. So you'll see a lot of students and a lot of pilots will have this knee board here. I've got I'm quite fortunate. I've got this log pad here. This was a hand-me-down from a student who passed through previously, Tess. She's an absolute legend, so thank you to Tess. I got these charts and bits and pieces from one of the instructors who passed through recently, Christophe, crazy Frenchman, but I love him to bits. So this is a Pulley's CB3 knee board, and basically how it works is you've got an elastic strap around the back. You just basically sit it on your knee, you put the strap around your leg, secures it in place, and then you can simply, while you're flying along, you've got your controls in front of you here, and you can just write notes. So I did a brief lesson with, well, it wasn't even a lesson, one of the instructors, Sam, he let me taxi an aircraft back to our hangar from the apron, and so he was just rattling through some of the the checks that you need to do for that. So just making quick notes on flying there, and yeah, so that's all that. Next we have a couple of checklists. So these are sort of lost and found, which haven't been claimed. So I've kind of acquired these for my own requirements. So I suspect that I'm going to be doing the majority of my flying in a Piper Tomahawk PA-38. So yeah, this is the Pulleys checklist. And what I'm going to do in a little bit, after I've shown you all of this, is I'm actually going to run out to our hangar, and I'm going to jump in one of the planes and start working through the checklists. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go flying. Again, this is one of the unfair advantages that I have, is that I can get into a hangar where our aircraft are stored. But the idea behind that is to go and sit in the plane, just to kind of start to get familiar with all the switches and start to read through the checklist, and then just start working through the actions. Now, as I said, obviously I'm not going to start up a plane in the hangar. That's just dangerous, quite frankly. But you know, just kind of getting a sense for it. Right, so master switches underneath, and then flick the lights here, the lights there, and just kind of like mimic the actions, just to start kind of really kind of getting it in my memory and embodying it really. So I'll do that later on. You'll see that shortly. Next, the book that I'm working through at the moment is this Pulleys Air Pilot's Manual, Book 1. So this book really just goes over some of the basics of the various lessons in a PPL study. So there are 19 lessons within a PPL, or they call them exercises, and they cover things like aircraft familiarization, taxiing, straight and level flight, climbing, descending, and things like that. And then you've got sub exercises, so like 4A, 4B, 4C, and things like that, which talk about things like primary effects of controls, secondary effects of controls, trimming, and that. So I'm just going through and I'm just making notes in a big notepad here, just about what the purpose of each lesson is, just so when I'm going through each lesson, because I've seen our instructor Sam, he likes to kind of prompt his students to say, right, so what are we doing today then? Because he's kind of looking to see if he's kind of almost testing his students to see, have they prepared for it the night before? Do they know what to expect, or are they just coming along expecting to be told how to fly a plane, or actually are they actually showing initiative and learning about what's coming up in the next lesson? So I'm going to be reading through that. The rest of the Air Pilot's manuals, if I can have a look down here, so you can see we've got the instructor copies hiding down here. So we've got 7 books. The only book that you don't need for a PPL is book 5, because that covers radio navigation and instruments, so you don't really do any of that as a PPL study. But you've got 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7 are all going to be other books, so you'll probably see me talking about those in future videos if this series continues. And yeah, and for some of those books I'll probably need to get my own copy, because these are potentially out of date, so obviously we don't want to be learning out of date stuff. Anyway, so for all of the theory work, what I'm planning on doing is sticking all of my notes into big A4 notepads. So I want the majority of my theory work to go into one of these big things, and then if I have a look over here, so I've got my logbook complete with a handful of flights that I've done at the moment. So the top 2 are a couple of trial flights. I actually showed this in a vlog that I've done previously, which was about a trial flight that I did here at Highland Aviation at Inverness, and then I've had the chance to do a couple of other flights since then. So one in this one here is actually in a gyrocopter, which is not an aircraft. Oh, sorry, it is an aircraft, not a fixed wing aircraft. It's like a mini helicopter, really cool. You should check out gyrocopters, or gyrocopter videos rather. And then me and Christoph, we did a flight in a Piper Tomahawk, which was quite fun and quite interesting as well. So yeah, I've got a handful of flights under my belt at the moment. Yeah, so obviously I'm sure everyone who's watching knows what a logbook is and what the purpose of it is. Here, the reason I came over here was because I'm going to have this smaller notepad. So this is going to contain a whole bunch of practical notes from flying. So whereas the bulk of my theory is going to go in this, anything that I learn, any little tidbits, anything which is more kind of practical stuff that the instructor talks about in the aircraft, I'm going to keep those notes separate in their own notepad there. So the idea is that this big the big book is going to either stay at home, it's going to stay in my bag, and the bulk of material is going to go in there, and then any little extra tips and tricks that I learn are going to go in here basically, and then I can then sort of assimilate all of that together in one go. Don't mind that, that's just a stand for my GoPro. And yeah, and then over here I've just got a few more notes. So these are some of the notes that I made when Sam was teaching me about mass and balance, and essentially it's a procedure guide for how to fill out one of these mass and balance sheets, which is obviously very important for calculating the mass and balance of an aircraft. So yeah, so that's all the stuff that I've got at the moment. Obviously, as time goes by, there's also a nice little kind of conversion diagram there for converting weights and volumes of fuel. So, you know, US gallons into litres, and then litres into pounds. So you can see you would multiply this by 1.58 and stuff like that. So that's a very handy little chart there, little diagram as well, which was originally found in the Cessna 172 POH. So if you want to find something like that, look for a Cessna 172 POH and you'll find this diagram hiding in there somewhere. Cool. So yeah, so that's about all of the kit that I've got for myself at the moment. Because it's quite late, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pack all of this up just now, bring it into my rucksack, and then I'm going to sneak out to the hangar and we'll jump in the plane, and I'll maybe start working through a checklist and show you what the inside of a Piper Tomahawk looks like. Alright, okay, here we are. So we're in the hangar just now. Now we do have one of our Tomahawks right in front of us, but I think what I'm going to do is go and have a look at the other one, and we'll go and sit in there. So this is one of our Cessna 172, well, this is our only Cessna 172, Golf Charlie Charlie Tango Tango. Very nice aircraft. I've been up in it once as a passenger, it was very nice. Got Bravo Romeo Lima Papa, one of our Piper Tomahawks. Cessna 182 here is privately owned, so that does not belong to us at all. Golf Echo Tango Bravo Tango, that's one of the aircraft I have flown in, and Golf Lima Alpha Zulu Lima is also one of our aircraft. So I think Echo Tango Bravo Tango is probably going to be the best one. So what I'm going to do is jump into it. We'll have a quick look at our checklist, and yeah, I'm just going to spend a couple of times just rattling through the pre-flight checks in this aircraft, keeping it cold and dark obviously, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So I'll leave that down there. I'll put my pen in my pocket, so I believe it's that should unlock it. There we go. Right, so I'm going to jump in. Oops, ow. Bouncing off the walls as I go in. Okay, so we're in the plane, and yeah, basically what I'm going to do is just readjust my camera so you can see everything, and maybe close the door a little bit so I have better acoustics. And yeah, and then I'm just going to sit here, just rattle through the pre-flight a couple of times just to get comfortable with where I'm moving, what I'm doing. And yeah, so give me 2 seconds, I'll just readjust the camera and we'll get started. Right, so I've had a couple of goes at going through the internal checks, so I'm just going to rattle through these just now and try and show you what the internal check is like as per Prulee's pre-flight. So hopefully you guys will be able to see everything through the camera, and yeah, let's go through it. So first things first would be seat adjusted and secured. So the seat can be adjusted down between my legs here, so I would slide it forward until my feet are comfortably on the pedals, give it a good shimmy back and forth to make sure it's locked in place and it's not going to move in flight. Next would be hatches and harnesses. So it's much like a seat belt. Put my lap belt across, click it into place, then bring my shoulder belt across, over, click it into place. Next would be parking brake on. So parking brake is hiding down here. Pull it forward, push the button down to put the parking brake on. Radios and avionics are off, so click off, make sure that's all off. Instrument and gauges, check undamaged, legible, secure and readings within limits. So we'll be checking to make sure everything's legible, all the numbers, the needles are clear, there's no like obvious cracks or smashes. That's unserviceable, which is okay, so that's fine, that's fine, that's okay, that's okay. RPM gauge is fine. And then we've got the engine here, so we've got the ammeter, fuel pressure, oil temperature, oil pressure, all legible, all clear, nothing obviously very damaged. Altimeter check and set as required, so we do that by twisting that to the required QNH right there. Flying controls, full and free movement, check the correct sense, so I can just about get away with doing that. So we check left, check the aileron moves, which it does, check the opposite one, that moves, we'll move the other way, that moves the way it should, that moves the way it should. Bring everything back to centre. Take a look at the back for the elevator. So that moves, that's down, that's all good. That's fine there. So it's pointing down slightly, that's just a relaxed position of the elevator at the moment, that's good. So flying controls, full and free movement, correct sense. We can't check the rudder pedals because the rudder pedals are connected to the nose wheel, which is obviously pressed against the ground, so that won't turn. So trimmer, check through the full range and set neutrals, so we'd roll that forward, roll that back, and then set it to neutral where the pin matches the white mark. Flaps, checking stages and symmetry, set up. So we'll set it up at the moment, so push the flaps lever forward, so that's up, that flap's up. Pull the first stage of flaps, clicks into place, that's down, they look even. Pull them again, stage 2, that's down, and then set up. So push the lever forward, that one's up, good. Cabin air controls, closed or off, so that one's closed there. Check the other side, that one's closed there. Let's see, alternate static source, that's hiding just behind the throttle lever here. That's pointing in this direction. It's like a little L shaped thing, so it's pointing in this direction, that means that's closed. We push it forward, so it's pointing in that direction to make sure to turn it on, so it's pointing that way, that means it's off, that's good. Carburetor heat, full and free movement, so we would check the carburetor heat. I can probably get away with doing this. Sets off. Now I don't know if that's off. This used to be a German plane, so I don't know if Aus is off. Hopefully it is. Throttle, full and free movement, I'm not going to move that, but so full and free movement, so up, down, set a 1/4 inch open, so up, down, up ever so slightly. Throttle friction, operating freely, set loose, so you do that by that, set that loose. Mixture, full and free movement, set rich, so that'd be up and down to check that the lever does move, and then up to rich. Circuit breakers and fuses, in position and secure, so check all the fuses down here, make sure everything is in, there's nothing popped out, which they're all in, good. So master switch on, so I'm not going to do it again, but master switch comes on here. Oh, that's where the cabin heat switches are. Okay, good. So those will be set to off. I'm going to leave that where it is just now. So master switch goes on. Annunciator light should come on over here. Turn coordinator flag away. So at the moment there's a little flag that says off. So that should go off when the master switch comes on. Let's see, fuel on the lease tank. So depending on what the fuel readings are, set it to the lease tank or by your pre-flight external inspection. Fuel pump goes on, and then check the pressure, then off, so the pressure would be over here. Check the pressure rises and then set that off. Primer's required unlock, so primer's over here, so we would unlock it, pull it out, 1, 2, 3 usually, and then I believe the POH says to pull the primer out, and then as part of the start process, I'll talk about that in a second. So pull the primer out once more, look out, shout clear pop, make sure there's no one in the area, it's safe to start the engine, there's no one in front of the engine, or the propeller rather. So magnetos, so keys go into the magnetos back here, so click click click, start. As the aircraft starts cranking, the propeller starts rotating, push the primer in, it should then kick over and start, release the key. And then after start. Okay, so that should be the internal checks up to engine start. So there you go. Hopefully that's a bit of a quick, interesting run through. Yeah, there you go. So I'm not sure what the next clip is going to be. Oh, actually, I didn't check hatches and latches secured, did I? Okay, never mind. Okay, so that one lock. So that's locked. And then once it's unlocked. Okay, good. So I'll need to ask what that is because there's obviously something different there. So that's locked. Pointing back is locked. Rotate clockwise. So there's a click there and then unlock. Okay. Good. So pointing back is locked. And then so we need to do that as well. So latch, close, unlocked, locked, unlocked, open, and out. Good. Okay, I think that makes sense. So I'm going to leave it there. Okay, so there you go. So that's me just jumped out of the plane. Now, hopefully that was quite interesting. I don't know if it was. Hopefully it was. But there is something I did want to show you about this plane, which I think is pretty clever and pretty cool. So if I just jump on, actually, I'll do a POV so you can see what I'm doing here. So if I jump on. Now, if you have a look down the front of the plane here, you might notice something quite interesting. I don't know if you can tell from this angle because I'm doing a really bad job of it, but basically the engine in this aircraft and the propeller is actually skewed off to one side, and if I go around to the front you'll probably get a better angle of it. Hopefully I don't fall over and make a complete arse of myself. Let's have a look. So if we have a look at the front, you'll see that the nose of this plane is actually kind of squint. And I'll show you this in a second here, hopefully. Now, it might be a bit difficult to see, but do you see how the nose cone there is pointing ever so slightly in this direction? Now, that's to combat I don't think it's the propeller factor, but it's the sort of the torque effect. So when you apply power, you also have to apply right rudder, and I believe that the nose on this aircraft is a bit squint to help combat that. So that was a fun little fact about the Piper Tomahawk that I did not really know about beforehand. So yeah, pretty cool little thing. Anyway, just thought I'd share that. And yeah, so I'm just about to jump out the hangar before the airport security find me in here and start questioning me, especially considering I'm recording in here as well. But yeah, I'm about to go and put all of these aircraft to sleep and then go home because it's getting really late now. It's gone 6 o'clock and I'm getting hungry. I want my dinner. So yeah, I'm just going to walk past and show you some more of our lovely aircraft. Let's have a Romeo Lima Papa and then our Cessna 172 once more with its very pointy, very dangerous looking spinner there. And that concludes this video. So in the next episode, what you're going to see is me doing my first official flying lesson. Now, while I've done a couple of trial flights before, the next video is going to be me doing my proper first official lesson. So I'll hopefully have that video out in the next couple of weeks or so. If you like this video, if this series of videos is giving you a good insight into PPL training, then give me a thumbs up. If you want to stay along for the ride, why not subscribe and follow my journey as I go through and do my training for my PPL. And yeah, if you've got any questions or any comments, please do just leave them below and I'll endeavour to answer as many of them as I can. Anyway, until the next time, thank you all very much for watching. Take care out there and I will catch you all later.